words and she bonded with him into an unwanted relationship. I announced you as a husband and wife. Now you may kiss the bride. She clutched her gown tightly as Taehyung held her in his arms. There was no expression on his face when he pressed his lips against her forehead. She was thankful to him to not taking advantage of the situation and created the distance between them. I know, Mr. Kim, whatever happened was not right, but I hope Wyan would be unfazed from it. Wyan's aunt was worried for her. If Taehyung didn't threaten them for his reputation, then they would never marry Wyan to him. He always gave them negative vibes. I know how to treat my wife. Wyan averted from his dark, dominant gaze, which scared her, and tried to understand his words. Was it positive or negative? They reached his giant mansion, but nothing astonished for Wyan anymore. She was just silently following him upstairs and entered the bedroom. This is our room. What? Are we sharing a room? Couple do share room, Mrs. Kim Taehyung. His authoritative voice, his ownership on her name filled her body with goosebumps. It's really easy for you to forget your love? Taehyung's brows knitted in confusion. He stepped near, but she stood on her place. She didn't let him know his presence scared her. Love? Were you not in love with my sister? He chuckled bitterly, like it was mocking her. How stupid Wyan was that she believed Alice's lies. You are so innocent, my lady, but it makes me more attractive to you. He pulled her closer when she was still trying to understand the meaning of his words. I knew this dress would look perfect on you. Gorgeous attire for my actual wife. Her eyes widened to the realization her marrying him was already planned and why Alice was missing when she was in love with him. How could you? You turn out my type, I couldn't help. Nothing was a big deal for him. A day before marriage, Alice introduced him to Wyan, who came from Busan just to attend their marriage, and that was the moment he wanted Wyan all for himself. Where is Unni? She is taking rest. What you did with her? Her voice was loud and palms were pushing him, but his strength was incomparable. She felt disgusted and glared at him with hate, unaware if she was not his lady love, then she would be in the dark room with a pool of blood. Now change your clothes before I change my mind. As his grasp loosened, she immediately ran inside the bathroom, her eyes filled with tears, knowing the reality of her life. Everything was now upside down. Taking a shower, she changed her clothes since another door was attached to the walk-in closet. She was not surprised anymore seeing all kinds of dresses of her size. She hesitantly stepped inside the room. Taehyung was already laying on the bed in his comfy clothes and eyes stuck to her petite figure. Don't you dare. Just come to bed. Wyan stopped at her place. Who was going to sleep on the couch? I need time. Is it too hard to understand? Here I am the one who leads and others have to follow. She looked at him in disbelief and the next moment she was in his arms. He placed her on the bed and before she could protest, he wrapped his arms around her firmly. Shh, to sleep. He closed his eyes, not caring about the fact how uncomfortable she was. The next day, she found herself alone in the bed and it was not like she wanted to see him. She hated him for playing and destroying her life. She got ready for the day unwillingly, then came downstairs. Her forced husband was preparing breakfast. Good morning. Good morning. Sit, I made a special breakfast for you. She was trying to understand he was the same person from last night. You really want me to do this? She looked at him confused and he pulled a chair for her like a gentleman. Now come here. She sat on the chair hesitantly and he served her delicious-looking breakfast. It's so good. A boxy smile broke on his lips and she admired his smile. If he was not the person she encountered last night, then she would easily fall for him. Soon she was done with a grateful thanks, but he held her in his arms. He was just inches away from him that she had to wiggle. Only thank you won't work with me. Then what do you want? Kiss me. I won't. I'm counting 1 to 9, or else you have to kiss my lips. 6, 7, then 8, and finally her lips met with his cheek. He smirked in satisfaction as he knew how to play with his little wife. Good girl, now leave me. Can you already stop running away from me? Accept it, now you are mine. His fingers brushing over her cheek while gaze attached to her. Then leave my Unni at least. Don't worry about her, I'll do it when I feel like it. She understood he was not a man she could argue with. She was stuck with him, but how long? Will she ever be free herself from him or not? It was a month past of their marriage. In those 30 days, Ryan saw his different behavior, different moods. He was confusing, scaring, and questioning her mind every time. He was controlling her life, didn't allow her to continue her job since her husband was a billionaire. If she wanted something, then his one snap was enough, not caring about her passion. She was caged who only have mates to communicate with. She mostly spent time in the library or garden and only came to the living hall when Taehyung returned. He wanted her to behave like a typical wife who opened the gate for her husband and welcomed them with hugs and kisses. She opposed his order, but he threatened her. If you ever disobey me, then someone will have to get hurt in your place because I do love you too much. Currently, she was in bedroom and looked at the wall clock. She unwillingly left the bedroom and welcomed her exhausted husband with a hug. Her arms were his safest and calmest place. They came to the living hall and she served him a glass of water. After 8, no maids were allowed in the mansion. It was their private time only. Come here. She sat beside him with hesitation. Understanding him was still harder than cracking a UPSC exam. I have decided something. What? You must be bored all the time here, so you can work now. Her face brightened. Her job was not just a reason of her living, but her passion. You can continue your work for my company, but from home. It was disappointing, but at least she could now work. Are you happy? Kinda. You should thank me. Why would I? It's not like you favor me or something. She was so done with him. First he took everything away, and now with bare minimum he wanted her to be grateful when it was her human right. You are ungrateful, my lady, but I know how to get my treat. Before she could understand, Taehyung pressed his lips on her forcefully. She tried to push him, but he kept kissing her until he was satisfied. I hate you, Taehyung. She ran inside the room and locked it. Later, the banging sound could be heard, but she stayed unfazed. Just get lost. The banging was stopped, but it was replaced with the vulnerable voice of him. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't do this, but don't say you hate me. She was confused once again. If she stayed more days with him, then she herself lost her mind. Please forgive me. I won't repeat my mistake. She was confused, scared to even open the door and lay on the bed. A week passed to that incident. That night, he slept outside the door and got a fever too. She was the one who was taking care of him, and her care was the biggest achievement for him. After 2 days of rest, he went to the office. That day, Ryan decided to talk with the head maid. She was curious to know about him. Taehyung was a lovely boy who was growing with his parental love and care, but one night he lost them, two in front of his eyes at the age of 10, and he got disturbed. His uncle and aunt treated him like a servant and tortured him in his own property. That was the time he was losing himself and turned out the person he never imagined, a psychopath with multiple personality disorder. With the turn of 18, he killed his uncle and aunt, but no one knew. He was a genius when it comes to work or killing someone. He handled his father's business really well. He needs someone who treated him with love and care. He can heal if you put some efforts, Ryan, and you are the only one who can turn him into a normal person once again. He needs a psychiatrist, not my love or care. She didn't want to understand anything or pity him. She was selfish for her happiness, freedom, and would only risk for it. Now she was working on the laptop. That job was not that bad but too near to be good. Going outside, meeting people, enjoying work with her colleague was the better experience of her life. She also lost her parents at a young age, but luckily her uncle and aunt treated her well. They must be sacrificed her to save their own family, but she didn't blame them. It was her payback of years. Take some rest. You have been working all day. And what will I get in return? She was treating him exactly as he did, but he was proud of it. Whatever you want, except leaving you. I just want to go on a date, then get ready. She finally got the opportunity and got ready beautifully. You shouldn't be look like this good. I'm distracted now. We are going, Mr. Kim, and that's it. He loved the way she was acting like the authoritative wife of him, but sadly, it was all an act. Always be happy like this. She was genuinely happy. His presence, his efforts for the date was commendable, but it was not enough for staying. If you treat me well. I do. It's just you who doesn't appreciate my efforts. He held her hand gently. This time, he was not angry or sweet, but serious. Efforts to control me. Can you please not spoil the moment? His hold tightened already, which scared her the most. I'm sorry. She immediately excused herself for the restroom. There was only a small window to run away since Taehyung was waiting for her at the gate. I will definitely stuck, but let's try. She took out her neck first, then pushed herself out, but her hips stuck. Now the skinny body has become her idol figure. Just a little bit. Try harder. I'm trying. She saw him in horror. His eyes were burning. Aura was dark, but his voice was dripping honey. Wait, I'll help you. He held her figure firmly, and with one harsh jerk, she was standing in front of him, shivering in his arms. Taehyung. Shh, let's go. It's getting dark. He was calm, and it was more dangerous than getting furious. She was sitting on the couch as per his order and saw him turning on the stove. He put the empty pan on it and let it burn. She was now more scared to death and shivering. Taehyung, I'm sorry. You should be. He took the predatory steps towards her and his hand was holding the pan. You know, it's burning, just like my heart. She kept moving backward, but her feet stumbled with the contact of couch and she fell on it. A horrible scream left from her mouth. Taehyung placed his hand on the pan. Tears were dripping from her eyes, but he was unfazed from it and closed his eyes. I love you so much that I can't even hurt you. Please remove it. She immediately came to him to save his hand, but he didn't budge. I'm sorry, Taehyung. I won't do it again. I promise I won't try to run away. It was clear that he loved her more than anyone, and seeing him in pain was now hurting her. She must have removed his hand from it, but it was now burned in horrible condition. With a call of Mrs. Kent, doctor treated his hand because of Ryan's bleeding. It was clear he needed someone badly who helped him to come out from the darkness, so she accepted her fate and decided to be his healer. Wayne was working in the office. Now she was an assistant manager of Kim's company and still learning. In the whole year she stayed with him, proved him she won't leave him. Never. He must fell for her first, but she fell harder. She was too much in love that she didn't want to lose him. That period was toughest situation of her life, but she did it. He was become a better person. Her love, her efforts and her care made a great impact on Taehyung. He approved other opinions. He understood that love comes with trust, freedom along with care. She saw the wall clock and leaving everything went to her husband's office. He must be a strict boss but the sweetest husband. A smile formed on his lips and he placed her on his lap. What do you want for the lunch today? She always ordered food of his and her preference. You, God, I can't fulfill your stomach, but I can. A naughty smirk was dancing on his lips. He turned out a big pervert in those days. Let's have a baby now. Isn't it too early? I want 5, so we should start early. What? Are you serious then? 1000%. With that, he captured her lips in a loving kiss. He was a broken person into pieces, and she collected every piece with determination, love, care, and fondness. She was his best companion, his healer to give me a new life. Our relationship started with hate, obsession, and distrust, now standing on the four pillars of love.